Following yet another deadly shooting attack that officials are calling a hate crime.
Authorities say a shooting at a synagogue outside San Diego has left one person dead and multiple people injured.
And this morning, security is being stepped up at houses of worship all around the country. That's
a witness who talked about hearing 5 or 6 shots and then the screaming that was going on afterwards. Apparently, there were several people who were inside the synagogue who tried to confront the shooter.
That gunman walked into that synagogue lobby behind me, opened fire, getting off about 10 or 15 rounds before his gun jammed. Then 2 congregants chased him down this ramp and out into the street. Now, police caught him. He is in jail this morning, but this community, like so many others you mentioned, still on edge.
The suspect has been identified as a 19-year-old white male. He's in police custody and has been charged with first-degree murder.
In a post online, the alleged shooter bragged about trying to burn down a mosque last month. Both acts, he wrote, were a tribute to the massacre at the Christ Church Mosque last month and the Tree of Life Synagogue shooting 6 months ago.
The violence in California, especially shocking, coming on the final night of Passover and exactly 6 months after the massacre at the Pittsburgh Tree of Life Synagogue.
The series of explosions tearing through churches filled with worshipers attending Easter Mass. More than 200 people killed, hundreds hurt.
The blast shook churches during the holiest day on the Christian calendar.
Our hearts go out to those affected, particularly the family of the decedent here, Jake, and whether it is there are Muslims in the mosque in New Zealand.
49 people were killed overnight when a white gunman targeted Muslims at prayer on Muslim Sabbath when someone entered and just started shooting.
The man who is claiming responsibility and charged with murder is an extreme right-wing white supremacist.
The worshipers in Charleston, South Carolina.
At least 9 people are dead. Police are considering this a hate crime.
The self-described white supremacist admitted to killing 9 people at an historic black church in Charleston, South Carolina.
At the A&E church several years ago, whether you're in Sutherland Springs at a Christian service.
A gunman opened fire, killing 26 people during their Sunday ritual in a house of worship.
Our friends at the Tree of Life Synagogue.
At a synagogue in Pittsburgh, 11 people died after a gunman opened fire during morning service.
And now in California, we condemn, and I'm glad that the president, as the leader of this country, is out there condemning unequivocally hate crimes.
We forcefully condemn the evil of anti-Semitism and hate, which must be defeated.
This was a hideous end to a Holy Week. Along with this second fatal synagogue shooting were events less horrific but still rather upsetting. White supremacists interrupted a talk by author Jonathan Metzl at a bookstore in Northwest Washington, D.C.
And we have to speak out about it. We have to be honest about it. And we have to condemn hate in all of its forms.
And the New York Times published a cartoon in its international edition that could just as easily have appeared in ISIS or neo-Nazi propaganda, containing, as the newspaper later acknowledged, anti-Semitic tropes. The newspaper has since called it offensive and an error of judgment, but has not apologized for the anti-Semitic cartoon.
People in this country should feel safe at all times.
And today, we should note, begins Holocaust Remembrance Week.
There's something particularly onerous about being gunned down in your place of worship, regardless of your faith.